Kimberly Cargill was convicted of the murder of her children's babysitter, Cherry Walker, on June 18, 2010. Cherry was due to testify in Kimberly's child custody hearing. To avoid that, she decided to kill her. How she caused Cherry's death is unknown, but the victim's body was found partially burned. Police later determined that Kimberly doused Cherry with lighter fluid, and set her on fire. Many family members testified against Kimberly. 3 of her 4 sons testified that she would frequently choke, kick and hit them. She also changed the locks on their bedroom doors, so she could lock them inside. Kimberly's ex-husbands also took the stand, one of whom testified that she set his apartment on fire. Kimberly Cargill was sentenced to death on June 7, 2012. On June 30, 1993, Erica Sheppard and James Dickerson saw Marilyn Maher carrying clothing from her car into her apartment, and decided to rob her for the car. The pair tackled the 43-year-old woman inside her apartment, and while she begged for her life, they slashed her throat 5 times. They then wrapped her head in a plastic bag, and struck her with a 10-pound statue. The duo escaped in Marilyn's '93 Mazda. Erica Sheppard was sentenced to death on March 3, 1995. James Dickerson was also sent to death row. He died from AIDS in the late '90s. On May 16, 2001, Linda Carty and 3 co-defendants invaded the home of 20-year-old Joanna Rodriguez. The victim and her 3-day-old baby were kidnapped, and 2 other victims were beaten, duct-taped, and left in the residence. The 20-year-old mother was tied with duct tape, a bag was taped over her head, and she was placed in the trunk of a car. She later died from suffocation. Carty had told everyone that she was pregnant, what wasn't true. So, the purpose of the crime was to steal the baby and keep him as her own. Linda Carty was sentenced to death on February 21, 2002. Darlie Routier was convicted of the June 6, 1996 murder of her 5-year-old son Damon, inside the family's home, in Rolette, Texas. Damon and his 6-year-old brother Devin were stabbed to death while they slept with their mother, in the downstairs family room. Routier's husband, Darren, and infant son, Drake, slept during the attack in upstairs bedrooms, and were not harmed. Routier told the police that her home had been broken into, and that an intruder had stabbed 2 of her sons, Damon and Devin, and attacked her. Police decided that the wounds she sustained were self-inflicted, and after inconsistencies in her statements, they arrested Darlie for the crime. At trial, prosecutors argue that Darlie killed her children because they interfered with the lifestyle she wanted to live. She ended up being sentenced to death on February 4, 1997. Routier's conviction has come into question in recent years. She was convicted largely on the basis of the testimony of bloodstain analyst Tom Bevel, who has played a role in several recently discovered wrongful convictions. Other crime scene experts have publicly criticized the case, and one juror has publicly stated that he now believes she's innocent. Darlie Routier is collecting funds to perform new DNA testing on evidence at the crime scene. And a wrongful conviction advocacy group has taken her case. David Cam, who himself was wrongfully convicted on the basis of Bevel's testimony, is investigating her case. Melissa Lucio was convicted in the murder of her 2-year-old daughter, Mariah, on February 17, 2007, in Harlingen, Texas. The little girl was one of her 9 children. Melissa told police the child had fallen down the stairs, but physicians found she had bruises covering her body, bite marks, an arm that had been broken weeks earlier, and was missing hair that had been pulled by the roots from her head. Her husband, Robert Antonio Alvarez, was found guilty of causing seriously bodily injury to Mariah, by failing to provide medical care to his daughter. Melissa Lucio was sentenced to death on August 12, 2008. On November 13, 1996, Brittany Holberg robbed and murdered 8-year-old A.B. Towery Sr., at his home in Amarillo, Texas. Holberg was working as a prostitute and was hired by Towery. The victim was struck with a hammer, and stabbed nearly 60 times. The weapons used were a paring knife, a butcher knife, a grapefruit knife, and a fork. A lamp pole had been shoved more than 5 inches down the victim's throat. Brittany Holberg was sentenced to death on March 27, 1998. All 6 women are incarcerated at the Mountain View Unit, in Gatesville, Texas.